Hello everyone, this is Colleen Lemma, starseed astrologer and spiritual messenger from sacredsoulempowerment.com. Here to do your weekly angel card reading for Monday, September 28th through Sunday, October 4th, 2020. So for this week's weekly reading, we are going to be using the Psychic Tarot by John Holland for the main message for everyone. And your special message card this week is going to be coming from the Energy Oracle cards by Sandra Ann Taylor. So I want to update you on why we didn't have a weekly reading for Monday, September 21st through Sunday, September 27th, 2020. A lot of you already know, as you follow me on Facebook under Colleen Lemma or my page Sacred Soul Empowerment, that I have had a sudden move across the country. I was living in Oregon, where we had a lot of fires going on in California, Oregon, and Washington State, as well as neighboring states such as Nevada and Colorado, Wyoming, even Arizona. So a lot of fires happening, and one swept through the town that I lived in, Oregon, and as well as the 3 towns north of us, taking out a lot of people's homes and businesses and livelihood, and it was a little too close for home. And after the fire happened that swept through the area, there was some heavy, toxic, unhealthy levels of smoke that settled into the valley where I lived for about a week or so. So my family and I, at the last minute, very sudden and unexpected, we hadn't previously considered it really, but we ended up making the decision because of the threat of more fires that could start at any time, and the dry weather that accompanies the Southwest, which can spark fires very quickly and suddenly, and they can spread very rapidly because there's no moisture there, because there's a lack of rain. Lakes have dried up and whatnot. And there's actually a water shortage now in the area where I came from. But we made the sudden decision to move across the country to Florida. So this is why there was no weekly reading for September 21st through September 27th, 2020. I really thought that I could somehow, in my mind, I could somehow get it done and get it up for you all before I left, but we had to pack a lot of belongings and organize a lot of details with moving. And we actually drove, which took us about 5 days of a lot of long hours of driving and staying at hotels. So I did not get a chance. And I think this is the first time, ever, since I've had my YouTube channel for years, I think this is the first time that I've missed a weekly reading. If it's not the first time, it's been a really, really, really long time since I've missed one. So I feel really bad about that, but I want to just also say a thank you to all of you that supported me in this move, sending protection and positive intentions and uplifting energy, and some of you also with the GoFundMe that was posted, sent in your donations through the GoFundMe as well as through my own personal website. So I want to thank all of you, no matter how your support came in. I want to thank each and every one of you for your support, for your love, for your kindness, for your patience as I moved and am getting readjusted. And as of the recording of this video, which happens to be on Sunday, September 27th, so even late in recording this to get it up for next week, because I usually post it on the Friday before. But on Sunday, September 27th, this is the first day in a new place, and boxes are everywhere, clothes, crystals, everything is still packed. And all I had was 2 divination decks, which is what I'm using this week, the Psychic Tarot for the main message and the Energy Oracle cards for the special message card. I don't even have crystals to show you this week, but we have something that's going to be just as good as far as picking your special message card. It's going to be, well, I'll show you in a minute, but This is why this is kind of on the fly, and this is a little bit off the beaten path of how I normally do my videos. So thank you everyone again for your love, your patience, your support, and let's get to the weekly reading. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quick recap of the past week, because I had a lot of you on Facebook, even though you understood, and so thank you. You said, I really understand, but I miss your weekly reading. So thank you to all of you that watched the weekly reading and noticed that it was missing from your life. So I'm going to do a quick recap here on the astrological energies, not a card reading, but the astrological energies of the past week, and then move into this week. So let's just do that recap for a minute. That recap of Monday the 21st through Sunday, September 27th. And you know, you can kind of go back and think about what was happening for you in this past week. I know for me, obviously, there was a lot going on, and there was a lot of stressful things that occurred, not just the long hours of driving, but we had a blowout on the moving truck, and we were towing a car on a car hauler, and so that was, you know, a bit of stress. But on Monday the 20th, we had Mercury, the planet that rules our thoughts, our ideas, our communications, and it was in a challenging aspect to Pluto. And Pluto's about power and control, death and rebirth, transformation. Now that challenging aspect, which is a square between Mercury and Pluto on Monday the 20th, could have brought up some power and control issues through communications with other people. There could have been something going on within our own thoughts and perceptions to where we felt a little bit of negativity, let's say. There could have been definitely something going on within partnerships and relationships, because Mercury was, or is, in the sign of Libra, or was in Libra at that time. And so, of course, Libra rules relationships of all kinds. So again, there could have been not just with your significant others, but with even other people that you don't know. There could have been some power and control issues or some challenging communications happening on the 20th. Also on the 20th, Venus was in conjunct to Jupiter. Now, Venus rules love, relationships, as well as finances and money. Jupiter rules our belief systems, as well as abundance and prosperity and expansion. So this was about adjusting our values. This was about adjusting our activities or energies within relationships. It was about adjusting our belief systems regarding our money and finances and how we perceive that all to be going in our lives. And then on Tuesday, the 22nd of September, we had the sun moving into Libra, my birthday sign, yay. And Libra is all about relationships and partnerships. And so the focus for the next month, as it always is this time of the year, is going to be on relationship matters and balance and harmony and compromise and diplomacy, because that is all what Libra is all about. It's you know, the sign of the scales, where we have to weigh things out and keep that balance. On Wednesday, the 23rd, Mercury, again, that planet that rules our thoughts, perceptions, and communications, was in a challenging aspect to Saturn. So first with Pluto on Monday, then with Saturn on Wednesday. And that could have caused some sort of delays in messages or information coming through. That could have caused some frustrations or restrictions in our communication process again. There could have been some karmic lessons that we were learning and how we need to compromise with other people in our life, or be diplomatic, or have things be fair and just. There could have been some difficulty with communication, some inability to express what it is that we really wanted to express. Also on Wednesday, the 23rd, Venus, which first started out on Monday with that in conjunct with Jupiter, now is in conjuncting Neptune on the 23rd of September. So again, just some, what do I want to say, confusion or illusion regarding relationship or financial matters, where we need to, again, just make some adjustments in how you're acting within the relationship, or how you're perceiving, or what you value within partnerships and relationships, as well as adjusting things with finances as well, to where there has to be some trust and faith. Neptune kind of brings in this needing to have trust and faith, because maybe you don't quite see with clarity what's really going on or why. And then on Thursday, the 24th, we had Mercury opposing Mars in Aries. Now, Mars is the warrior planet, action, movement, energy, etc. So there could have been some fighting words, you know, the Mercury opposing the Mars. Usually the oppositions play out with other people in our lives, and Mars in Aries can be quite assertive and even sometimes quite aggressive. So, you know, it's like this take charge, I want to be right, or I want to be the leader of, depending on what other planet it's connecting with. Here with it connecting with Mercury, planet of communication, there could have just been some, what do I want to say, tassels, or, you know, just disagreements and whatnot, and needing to try to find harmony and balance again, because again, Mercury at that time was still in Libra, the sign of balance, harmony, and partnerships. On Saturday the 26th, the Venus is in an inconjunct to Pluto. So Venus has had a tough time this week, planet that rules love, relationships, our values, our money, our finances. Because again, on Monday, it was in that weird inconjunct with Jupiter. On Wednesday, in that weird inconjunct with Neptune. And on Saturday, that inconjunct with Pluto, planet of power, control, taking our power back, transformation, death and rebirth. Now, the inconjunct just means that there's an adjustment needed. And so all along here this week, Venus has had to adjust her harmonious, loving, balanced, free-flowing kind of energy, because it's been in that weird kind of connection to Jupiter, planet of belief systems. So she's had to adjust how she's perceiving something, or her belief systems about things. She's had to adjust in regards to having faith and trust, or not seeing clarity because of the connection with Neptune. And now she's needing to adjust her sense of personal power, both within relationships and money matters, because of that inconjunct with Pluto. And then we arrive to today, as I'm recording this reading, Sunday the 27th. And this is the last day of last week's reading before we go into next week's reading. So on Sunday the 27th, Mercury is going into Scorpio. So now it's left Libra behind. Now it's going to dip back into Libra in a few weeks, because Mercury moving into Scorpio is going to go into a retrograde cycle around the middle of October. So here within 2.5 or so weeks, Mercury is going to go retrograde in Scorpio, dip back into Libra for a few days, and then when it turns direct, move back into Scorpio. It's going to be in Scorpio until the 1st of December, which is a really long time for Mercury to stay in any particular sign. Usually Mercury stays in a sign for about 3 weeks. So here it is, the end of September, and going to be in Scorpio, more or less, except for that retrograde motion aspect for a few days back into Libra. It's going to be there until December 1st. Now, again, Mercury rules our thoughts, our perceptions, and our communications. It rules messages and information. And Scorpio is all about transformation, regeneration, transmutation, death and rebirth, power struggles, power and control. It's about the shadow side of our psyche. It's about psychic abilities. It's about mediumship. It's about telepathic communication. It's about clairsentience, having feelings about things. Scorpio is about the metaphysical side of life, or the occult side of life. So there's a lot here going on with Mercury going into Scorpio. Now this brings us to the week of, which is coming up for you all as you're watching this, Monday, September 28th through Sunday, October 4th, which, by the way, that moves us into a new month. So here in a couple of days, I'll also be recording the monthly intuitive reading for the month of October. Now, before we talk about the astrological highlights for this upcoming week, let me show you, rather than a stone of choice or a crystal of choice, which is my norm, which we'll get back to for next week once I'm able to unpack, we're going to have a chakra of choice. So the first chakra of choice is the root chakra, the base chakra, which is the color red. Now, if you want to connect it to certain stones, it would be like red jasper, those kind of reddish or brownish red stones, maybe even fire. There's like a fire opal stone or fire stone that's red. So those dark stones, even brown stones, would be a root chakra, which could be different types of jasper, There's a mahogany obsidian that's more of a brown with black spots in it. So if you want to liken it to any crystals, it would be those red or reddish brown or even black crystals, because those are all grounding stones. Now, the root chakra is our sense of being grounded. It's our sense of security. So it deals with financial matters, because our finances make us feel secure, right? Our home makes us feel secure. Having our everyday needs met makes us feel secure. So the root chakra is all about feeling rooted and feeling grounded and feeling protected. And again, it deals with career, job, money, finances, living situation. So if there's something going on for you right now that deals with those matters, then maybe the root chakra would be what you're choosing, your chakra of choice, so to speak, for this week's weekly reading. The second chakra of choice is the solar plexus chakra. And I picked this one because we are dealing with some Pluto energies here and our sense of personal power. And the solar plexus chakra is about our personal power. It's about our confidence, our courage, our leadership ability, our ability to be assertive, to take charge of our lives, to take charge of a situation, and to just feel empowered. It, of course, is the yellow color, and this could associate to amber or citrine or golden calcite. You know, any of those stones that are yellow or gold are going to relate to the solar plexus chakra. So again, if you're needing to take back your power or feel more empowered or feel more assertive or take charge and be more of a leader in some way, whether in a situation or just in your life, then this would be your chakra of choice. Your last chakra of choice is the throat chakra. Now, the throat chakra is this beautiful turquoise blue color or bluish, light blue color, so it could be associated with stones such as turquoise or sodalite, blue calcite. It could be associated with blue apatite, you know, any of those stones that are that light blue or turquoise blue color, amazonite, chrysocolla, those would all be throat chakra stones. And this chakra deals with speaking your truth, right? But not just speaking your truth, because sometimes we can speak our truth out of anger and it's more aggressive. We want to speak our truth with like a love, a compassion, a groundedness. So for this chakra to be healthy and balanced, this is about just us being able to communicate, to verbalize, to be able to speak our truth, but to speak it in a balanced, harmonious way, if you will, to speak our truth without being aggressive. We can be assertive or confident, but not necessarily aggressive when we speak our truth. This is also about channeling too, by the way. So we can, whether we speak or write, listen to messages from spirit, we're able to then kind of channel those messages. So there's also a chakra that deals with channeling information. So if you're someone that talks to people for a living, or there's something important coming up where you need to express your truth in an appropriate way, then this would be your chakra of choice for the week. So let's talk about the astrology energy for the week now. There's a lot going on, a fair amount, just like there was last week. On Monday the 28th, we have Venus, which is in Leo. Forgot to mention that for last week, but Venus is in Leo right now for a few more days. And Venus ruling relationships, partnerships, finances, money in Leo is in that weird in conjunct to Saturn. There's a lot of that going on. And, oh, sorry about that, I hit the table. The in conjunct is also called a quincunx aspect. And because we've had so many of those last week, and all of those with Venus, last week Venus was in that in conjunct to Jupiter, and then Neptune, and then Pluto, and this week she starts out by having an in conjunct to Saturn, and we have a couple more in conjuncts this week that'll be with Mercury. Those are about adjustments. We need to adjust our thoughts, we need to adjust our perceptions, we need to adjust the way we communicate or interact with other people. We need to, make these adjustments in our lives, and not necessarily just with our thoughts and our, perceptions, but sometimes we need to adjust what's going on in our lives. Like when you have to all of a sudden decide to pack up and move across the country because of fires, we have to make adjustments. And sometimes that can be difficult or challenging, but again, part of it is about our perception. So if we can adjust our perception or adjust the way we act or react to a situation or circumstance, then that's going to help us. Now with the Venus in conjunct Saturn, she's needing to adjust how she feels within a relationship, or what she values in the relationship, or even how she values her personal resources, which includes her money and her finances. Because Saturn sometimes has a limiting and restrictive effect, and sometimes Saturn brings delays. So if there's something within relationships or something within money matters where you're waiting for or expecting some sort of return or expecting something to unfold, Saturn might bring some sort of delay happening here, some sort of feeling of limiting something or restricting something. But usually Saturn delays are in our best interest, even though we don't see it in the moment. So if we can again adjust how we're kind of acting within the situation, if we can adjust how we're perceiving the situation, then we're able to kind of move through whatever delays or snags or challenges Saturn is bringing. And also too, Saturn rules karmic lessons. So what's the lesson in all of this? What's the lesson in the relationship stuff? What's the lesson in the financial stuff with Venus in conjuncting so many planets last week and into this week? Also on Monday, Venus is in a positive aspect to Mars, and Mars is the planet of energy, action, forward movement. Now Mars is retrograde right now in his home sign of Aries, but there can still be forward movement. It might not be as fast and furious as when Mars is direct in Aries, but we can still move forward. It's almost like slow, what do I want to say? Slow unfolding. There's slow movement where Mars retrograde is having you kind of dot your I's and cross your T's and make sure everything's okay. But one thing is that Venus is the planet of the divine feminine. Mars is a masculine planet. They're the two lovers, right? Venus and Mars are the lovers, and they're coming together on Monday in a positive connection after Venus connects in that weird way with Saturn. So I feel like whatever's been going on with Venus and her relationships, and whatever's been going on with Venus and money matters, may start to balance out or feel a little bit better come later in the day on Monday. I'll even say going into, perhaps Tuesday maybe, but we do have some more challenging aspects coming up. Also on Monday, one last thing on Monday, is that Saturn is turning back to direct motion at 25 degrees of Capricorn. Now, had I done the weekly reading for last week, I definitely would have brought up that Saturn and Pluto have been kind of coming back together in the sign of Capricorn. They're both retrograde, or they both have been retrograde in Capricorn, but Saturn's a little faster moving. So Saturn was catching up to connect with Pluto again, like it did right at the beginning of the year in January 2020, which kind of initiated and started off a whole bunch of energies, let's say. Again, Pluto, power and control, transformation, death and rebirth. Saturn, karmic lessons, delays, dealing with the patriarchal system, restrictive energy. What is it that I need to learn? So as these two kind of kicked off, there was some heavy-duty energies being kicked off for 2020. And for this last 2, 3, even 4 weeks, they've been slowly trying to come back together, which is why I think a lot of people have been dealing with a lot of karmic stuff, right? Because Pluto is the ruler of the underworld, so to speak, and Saturn's the ruler of karmic lessons, known as the Lord of Karma. So it's been kind of dredging things up, dredging up our fears, dredging up our insecurities. Saturn deals with our insecurities, dredging up some power and control issues, bringing a lot of transformation in our lives because of the Pluto effect as well. So on Monday, going back to Saturn here, on Monday, Saturn turns back to direct motion, which means as of Monday, Saturn will stop at 25 degrees, and because it's going direct, will start to then pull away from Pluto. So everything that we've been feeling, kind of being dredged up or mixed up or stirred up, in the last almost month, in some ways will start to kind of dissipate and settle, and with Saturn pulling away from Pluto will help to kind of ease some of that up. Now there's other things going on, obviously, and I feel like on a collective level, with everything that we as a planet have been dealing with, there's going to be more things to come here as we move into October, November, December. But as far as some of the pressure that we've been feeling, I feel like some of that is going to ease up because Saturn's, turning back to direct motion. On Tuesday the 29th, the Sun in Libra, so again we have partnerships, relationships with the Libra energy. The Sun in Libra is opposing Chiron, the wounded healer, in Aries. So there's something going on here with independence versus codependence versus interdependence. Something going on versus harmony in relationships versus my own sense of self-identity or self-confidence, etc. There's old wounds, old karmic past life wounds that Chiron is dredging up here in our relationships. Also on Tuesday, Mars, that planet of energy, action, and forward movement, is challenging Saturn, which just went back to direct motion but is kind of at a standstill. So any forward movement on something might be delayed a little bit. Mars wants to move forward, but Saturn's going to bring restrictions and delays around that time on Tuesday, okay? Give or take a day or two before and maybe even after. Then on Thursday, the 1st of October, we move into October here with a full moon at 9 degrees of Aries. So October 1st, Thursday, full moon at 9 degrees Aries. That means the sun is in Libra at 9 degrees, the moon is in Aries at 9 degrees. This full moon is going to be connecting with Chiron, the wounded healer. So again, maybe bringing up our wounds of autonomy, identity, independence, self-sufficiency, self-confidence, courage, leadership, taking charge of our lives and moving forward in some way. On Friday the 2nd, the sun is in that weird inconjunct quincunx aspect to Uranus. So there might be something unusual happening in relationships where we need to adjust things, compromise, be diplomatic, try to bring things back into harmony. Also on Friday the 2nd, Venus is moving into Virgo. So now she's leaving her fun-loving fire sign of Leo and moving into the practical earth sign of Virgo. So Venus ruling relationships, being in Virgo, can be a little bit perfectionistic, a little bit nitpicky, if you will. Sometimes it can pay attention to the details, which doesn't have to be a bad thing, right? It's paying attention to the details and doing those little things for the significant others in our lives. But sometimes, again, it can get a little bit critical in relationship matters with Venus and Virgo. In regards to Venus ruling money and finances, this can bring some organization in. Venus going into Virgo, we can become more organized, more detailed, make a plan, write things down, and just kind of be a little bit more discerning with matters that deal with money. We can also get into a little bit of a negative tailspin again if we go into that perfectionistic, or sometimes there's worry and anxiety with Virgo energy. So we can get into some worriness, is that a word? Feelings of worry or anxiety regarding money matters with Venus and Virgo. Now, how long is Venus going to be in Virgo? I didn't jot that down, but it's going to be 3, 4, maybe even 5 weeks or so. And then she'll be moving on. So we do have a little while that she'll be in that sign. On Saturday the 3rd, we have Mercury in Scorpio making a weird inconjunct to Chiron, that quincunx inconjunct. So there's now a need to adjust how we're perceiving something, adjust how we're communicating about something, adjust our thoughts, because Mercury in Scorpio can sometimes get a little bit, what do I want to say, negative maybe. I don't know if that's exactly the right word, but Mercury in Scorpio can be very perceptive and very to the point, but can also, and very, psychic and empathic and whatnot, but can also get into some power and control stuff, or power games, or negativity in some ways. And then on Sunday the 4th, which ends this week's reading astrologically, Sunday the 4th, Pluto is going to direct motion. So we started out the week with Saturn turning back to direct motion. And as I said, Saturn's now going to be pulling away from Pluto. And Pluto, though, also is turning back to direct motion at 22 degrees of Capricorn. Pluto moves much more slowly than Saturn, so once they both start to speed up, Saturn still being the faster moving planet and already being past Pluto in degree is going to be pulling away. But they're going to still be within range of each other for a little while. So we still might have some things unfolding that deals with the Pluto power and control, or the Pluto needs for transformation, or transmuting lower energies, or transcending karmic patterns. Again, anything that deals with that death and rebirth Plutonian stuff, as well as the shadow side of our psyches. And that doesn't just mean on a personal level either. This is about the collective level. So we're looking at, government things, or big organizations, big companies, the patriarchal system. To me, there's been a lot going on a collective level with the Saturn and Pluto that's been traveling together since the beginning of this year, month by month, within range of each other. Now as we're going into the last 3 months of the year, it will start to eventually pull apart, but they're slow-moving planets, and right now they're within 3 degrees of one another. So we still might have a little bit of time here before they totally get out of range from one another. So now let's look at the messages from our angels and guides for this week. Let's take a look at the first card here. Okay, not surprised to see we have the first card is Major Arcana 15. It's called Temptation in this particular deck. This is, in the traditional tarot, it's called the Devil card. Now, the Devil card is about our fears and our anxieties and the shadow side of our psyches, the shadow side of the collective, and what's happening all over the planet with people being in fear mode, and people being anxious, and people being doubtful and wondering what's happening. So this is bringing up a lot of shadow energy, both on a collective as well as maybe a personal level, that we're dealing with a lot of base kind of things, dealing again like the fears. This is all root chakra stuff. Our base of insecurities and the fears and the anxieties that we're going through is all the temptation or the Devil card here. And so to me, I think about Pluto when I'm showing you this card, and I think about, this is, again, there's an opportunity here to transcend, an opportunity to transmute, negative karmic patterns, transmute lower vibrational emotions and feelings, transmute lower thought processes or perceptions. If we're aware of them, if you're aware and you say, oh, look, I'm thinking negatively again, or I'm about to say something that's not very nice to someone. It's like we can transmute that energy, we can transcend that energy and move out of this fear and anxiety that this particular card, emanates as far as the astrological and universal energies happening this week. Let's take a look at the next card here and see what else we have going on. So we have the Five of Spiritual. The Five of Spiritual, it says obstacles and challenges. Now, if you look closely, I don't want to dwell on the negativity, because we did start out with the Temptation or the Devil card. We do have obstacles and challenges here, the Five of Spiritual. So this is on a spiritual level. This is like dealing with old spiritual lessons. The number 5 can bring in some chaos and confusion. Again, we're dealing with obstacles and challenges. This person's trying to walk across this kind of makeshift bridge, if you will, that's over this deep hole. They don't know, how far they might fall if they slip and fall off of this bridge. The bridge is cut in half and there's kind of a block there, right? But if you think about it, that bridge is not that far apart. If that person's really careful and mindful and discerning, they can walk to the edge here, they can take a big step, and they can go to the other side. And this is all that adjustment energy. This is the Saturn turning direct. This is the Pluto turning direct this week. This is about adjusting your perception, and rather than going into fear mode that you're not going to get across or that you're going to fall, it's like adjust your perception there and say, you know what? I can be very careful, I can move very slowly, and I can move past this obstacle. I can move past this challenge. All I have to do is very carefully get here to the edge, take a big, careful step, stay balanced, and I'll get to the other side, and I'll be able to cross all the way across the rest of that challenging hole. So this to me is kind of the message, so to speak. It's don't get into the anxieties or the fears or the insecurities, because that's going to throw you off balance. Instead, stay balanced, stay trusting that you're protected and guided. Stay in a place of harmony as much as you can within yourself. And then very carefully move through whatever the obstacle or challenge is. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the last card for the week. The last card is Major Arcana 2. In this deck it's called Intuition. In the traditional tarot, this is the Priestess card, and I love that we're ending with this card because this is about us being empowered in the divine feminine, right? The priestess is feminine energy, but she's a powerful priestess, right? And we do have Pluto turning back to direct motion at the end of the week. So this is about being in our divine feminine power. This is about being connected to our intuitions, our psychic abilities, our healing abilities, our abilities to divine, if you will, what the best next step is for us. If you look, this priestess is kind of divining into this, I don't know what to call it. This is to me like sometimes you can scry into a bowl or scry into a mirror. She's kind of scrying into this portal of energy, so to speak, to see and intuit what her next step is. And then once she sees that through her powerful presence and her powerful ability to stay balanced and to stay self-assured and self-confident, then she can move through the door. She can go through the door to the next step, whatever that next step may be. So the door is right there, ready for her to go through. And right now she's just taking a moment. She's balancing herself, she's centering herself, and she's in meditation or contemplation. She's kind of using her psychic abilities and psychic powers to empower herself and to see what it is that she needs to see in order to move forward in the best possible way. Okay, so that's your message for the week. Now let's go ahead and take a look at your special message card, depending on your chakra of choice this week. All right, so just giving this a little shuffle here, and the first chakra was that root chakra. So for those of you that chose, I'm going to look away a little bit so I don't look at what's at the bottom of the deck. Don't want to get distracted. So the root chakra people, this one's calling my attention for root chakra people. So rest and rejuvenation. It has been an interesting time in the last month or so. A lot's been happening again with the Saturn Pluto coming together. Maybe you feel taxed, maybe you feel, tired, maybe you feel out of balance. This to me is saying get extra rest, have extra alone time, do extra meditation, contemplation, get out in nature perhaps, treat your body well, which means diet, exercise, silence. I feel like, there's maybe a need to kind of remove yourself from busy situations, or remove yourself from drama situations or chaotic situations, even if it's for 5 or 10 minutes a day. Find a place, whether it's within your home or out in nature, where you can just go and recharge. I feel like this is, a lot of you are in a space and a place where you're just needing to recharge your energy and find your balance again. Because if enough goes on and you don't take that alone time, you can very quickly become out of balance and disconnected from your true self, and disconnected from universal guidance, disconnected from we're never really disconnected from source, but it may feel like we're disconnected from source because we're not connecting with our own higher self. We're not connecting with that peace and balance within us. And so this is the message for those of you. Now again, that the base chakra, dealing with insecurity, right? Or financial maybe insecurity or things like that. You're wanting to feel more grounded. To feel more grounded and focused, you need to center. So whether that's a relaxing bath, whether that's meditation, whether that's walking out in nature, whatever you can do to find that center again, to find that balance again. And definitely take care of your physical vehicle, your physical body through rest, relaxation, okay? Those of you that chose the solar plexus chakra people, this one's calling my attention. Appreciation. So this to me is about appreciating the little things, appreciating the moment, right? Don't get caught up in the future, the what ifs, because it hasn't happened yet. And, things are going to unfold the way they're going to unfold. And the best thing you can do to bring in the abundance, the prosperity, the blessings that you desire is to appreciate what's in the here and now, to appreciate the present moment. Appreciate nature, appreciate the flowers, appreciate your loved ones, appreciate the fact that you have, work, that you have a home, or whatever it might be. Just think, and even if you have to sit down and write a list, what all do I appreciate in my life right now? And maybe make it a daily practice. What happened that I appreciate today? Maybe it was speaking with a loved one. Maybe it was receiving a little gift. Maybe it was having your favorite meal, whatever that might be. This is about just appreciating the beauty and the blessings that are around you in the present moment. And that's a good thing to do in order to move through sometimes the challenging times, right? If we focus on the challenge, if we focus on the lack, if we focus on the delays, it's just going to frustrate us, right? So if we just focus on, wow, I have my room all set up. I'm speaking about myself. I have my new place all set up just the way I want it. And I really appreciate the space that I have. I really appreciate being in a place where there's, no fires. I don't have to worry about that. And I appreciate the flowers that are in my new office. Or I appreciate the fact that I can take a walk and look at, the beautiful nature that surrounds me without worry. I appreciate the fact that I ate a meal with my loved ones, whatever that might be. And appreciate yourself too. I feel like this is also about appreciating yourself in the moment as well. And then for those of you that chose the throat chakra, whoops, that one was going to fall, so that's the one we're going to pick. Okay, we have indecision here. So some of you, I feel like, are at a crossroads. And I don't feel like this is like hugely a challenge or negative. I just feel like some of you are at a crossroads right now. And we're coming up to a full moon, right? And the full moon is going to intensify certain energies. The Pluto Saturn is, coming to a head this week, so to speak, and then we'll start pulling away. I feel like some of you are coming to this transformative crossroads. Do I stay? Do I go? Do I make this decision? Do I make that decision? Do I choose this path or do I choose the other path? You can see she's kind of at this fork in the road and she's wondering what path she should go down. So the indecision does not have to be a negative, but we do need to kind of weigh the pros and cons. So perhaps you want to make a list. If I make, this decision right here, what are the pros? What are the cons? If I make this decision over here, what are the pros and what are the cons? And not just think logically with your mind, but feel with your heart and feel with your soul what feels right when you read those lists of the pros and the cons. And, if your body tenses all up with one of them, but feels much more relaxed and open with the other, then you have to listen to that open, relaxed aspect of your body, right? Even if sometimes the logical mind says, well, but I really think logically this is a better choice, but then you feel all tense and nervous or anxious or just like something doesn't set right. And then you think about the other where you're feeling like more maybe uplifted or free or excited, or like you're able to breathe, taking a deep breath better, even though your mind might be saying, but how is that going to work? Don't worry about that so much, because if the body, if your higher soul self is saying, hey, this is the right way to go, you're going to be divinely protected and guided, even if the logical mind can't see how that's going to happen. So that's one thing that you have to do, is listen to your body, listen to your heart, listen to your soul, and not just the logical ego mind. Okay, so thank you all. I know this is longer than the weekly video normally is, because I wanted to recap last week for you. So thank you to those of you that hung in there. Even if you skipped the first part of the video and came to the last part, it doesn't matter. I just thank all of you for, again, your love, your support, your positive energies and comments on my Facebook posts. As I traveled across the country, I tried to keep you tuned into what was happening with me. And next week we'll get back to the special crystal or stone of choice, I'm sure. I'll have my office all together by then. Also, I'll be ready here in a day or two for readings, for sessions through my website. And also I'll be ready to start teaching classes again. I know some of you are waiting for the next level of astrology. So again, thank you all so much. I wish you immense love and light and many, many angel blessings. Namaste.